Hello and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I want to show you how to manage onboarding states in Flutter. So let's say you have an app like this that doesn't require authentication via email, continue with Google or Apple, but the user has to see some kind of onboarding first, like this, and when they press on get started or whatsoever button you put there, they will get redirected to the main app. Right, and if they open the app the next time, so I'm going to close this. When I open it the next time, I shouldn't see the onboarding again. I should be directed straight to the app because I've seen the onboarding. If your app requires authentication, it's most of the time much easier because you just check if the user is authenticated or not. If they are not authenticated, you just direct them to the start of your app, which may start with the onboarding, and they just follow through to your login screen. Now, in this particular case, our app doesn't require authentication, but then we provide a button here where they can just, something like act like logout, so they can go back to the onboarding, right? So the goal of this video is to help you so that whenever you want users to see onboarding once, you know how to approach that kind of scenario. Now, let's first look at how to implement something like this. So let's analyze what's happening. When the app launches, we have to decide what screen we want to show to the user. So whether we are going to show the onboarding screen, which is, these are just page views, so the whole onboarding screen, or we want to show the main app. Now, how do we decide what screen we have to show? There must be some kind of maybe a boolean or a state that tells us what has happened in the past, so whether the user has seen the onboarding or not. And based on that, we show the appropriate screen. So in this scenario, let's go to our main.dat file, which that's the place our app starts from. So in our main.dat file, in this particular case, I have a boolean over here, which is authenticated, and authenticated can be anything for you. It can be has seen onboarding. It can be has what variable name you decide to give to it, right? I called mine is authenticated. So if the user is authenticated, which in this case means they've seen the onboarding, then we start our route from the home screen. Else we start it from our initial route, which is our onboarding. Now the question is, how do we get this is authenticated? We need to save the onboarding state, which is whether the user has seen the onboarding or not, somewhere locally, so that whenever they open the app, we can retrieve it and then redirect them to the respective screen. So in order to do this, you can use shared preferences, you can use Hive, you can use get storage, you can use any form of key value local storage package or dependency in Flutter to achieve this. What I do is, if you are on the onboarding screen, so if you go to onboarding, our onboarding page, and we are looking for this button, so this next button, and before I go there, get started. When you click on get started, what I do is that I call continue without logging in, right? So there is a method we are looking for, continue without logging in. And what continue without logging in does is it calls another method called sign in anonymously. This is because of architecture, that's why a method is called another method. But the main functionality of signing anonymously, if we follow it over here, so we are looking for what signing anonymously actually does. Signing anonymously just calls something over here called local database.save. Now this might be the main thing you want to do, which is saving the state of your app locally, which is the user has in the onboarding, right? The user has in the onboarding. Now, local database.save isn't anything complex. I'm using get storage. You can use Hive or shared preferences. I have a box. That is how we use get storage. So if you're using Hive or shared preference, it might be different. And then I write to a key. So I'm saving locally a key value pair. So a key, and the key is student. So the key is student, right? Just a variable student. And then I save some kind of data here, which is student.map. So student.map is like the kind of data I want to save locally to check whether someone has seen the onboarding or not, right? Yours could be just a boolean which says yes, maybe true, not yes, something like this. It doesn't really matter, right? All you need to do is that when the user performs the action that's in your app you recognize as seeing the onboarding, you have to save a state that indicates that the user has performed the action, which is seeing the onboarding. So in my case, I just write to my local database or my local storage, Hive, shared preferences, a key which is students. Yours could be seen onboarding. It could be anything. The key doesn't really matter. And then a value. The value also doesn't matter. I'm only doing student.map because of the use case of my app, right? Yours could be true whatsoever. So after that, I just navigate to the home screen. So if we come to the onboarding controller, realize after we've called continue without logging in, right? Results.fold is because of clean architecture. You don't have to worry about that. But when it is successful, that is if no error happened, we just move to the home screen, right? This is navigating directly to the home screen. So when I click this, it navigates to the home screen. Now, next time when the user opens the app, what I do is that in order to get this state, which is authenticated, all that is authenticated is doing is that it's checking my local storage, which is my guest storage, to check if the user I saved exists. So if a user exists, then it means this is authenticated becomes true. Then we navigate to the main screen. Else we navigate back to the initial screen, which is the onboarding screen. So if you look at it's authenticated, right, which is this thing over here, all that it does is that it checks, which is the same student box. It's read for the key students. That's the same key we used in saving our onboarding state. So we read for that key, and I'm making another check over here to make sure the ID is not null, right? So you can do anything, like you can check if a value exists based on the value you saved. So if I saved a boolean called, if I saved a boolean like true, I can just check if this is not null or if this is equal to true. So if this is not equal to null, then it means a user exists or a student exists locally. That is the way I'm performing my form of authentication, right? A student exists locally. If a student exists locally, then it means that student has seen the onboarding, because the only time you see the only time a student will exist is when that student has seen the onboarding, right? So this returns a boolean, and based on this boolean, we navigate to either the home screen or the initial screen. Now when the user logs out, student local database, when the user logs out, all that I do is I call student box.erase. So I delete everything in that box. I delete everything in that particular student box. You can set your key to false or do whatever you want to do based on how you are checking for the auth state. So for instance, if you are writing over here true, right, to check that the user has seen the onboarding, when the user logs out or when the user performs an action that needs to restart the onboarding, all you need to do is that you come here, you copy this line, and then you set it to false, right? Now when you check in your main dot, that's when the user launches the app, you realize that this is going to return you false, and based on that you can navigate back to the onboarding screen. That's it. That's all. Thank you very much for watching. If you like to see this app, which is a personal project I'm working on, you can get it on the App Store and then Google Play as well. The name is RJN Quizlet. It's a nursing quiz app, right? So you can take a look at it and then let me know your feedback, right? I'll see you in the next video.